Hey guys, this is Foolish Mortal 42 back with some more World of Warcraft Classic, and we're going to be doing Maradon today with me as the tank. So we're going to see how that goes. I probably won't talk a lot since I'm going to record or I'm going to concentrate, um, and I'll probably post comment, so I'm going to mute my microphone and I'll see you guys in just a little bit and I'll do a post commentary and talk us through it. Alright, so everybody hang on. Alright, so we're doing Maradon, probably one of my favorite kind of late game but not in game dungeons because it is just so huge. It has some really challenging fights, and doubly so since we're going to be doing a Shaman tank run. Back in Classic, you definitely could do the Shaman tank thing. After Burning Crusade came out, they kind of changed the way Shamans worked. Instead of being a true hybrid where they could do tanking, healing, and DPS, they made it to where it was just more about range DPS, melee DPS, and healing spec. But as you can see, some of the mobs down here are immune to Earth Shock, which can make this a little bit more difficult. But that Rock Biter, it's basically a constant taunt, so that's why you really want a fast weapon if you're going to be tanking. So this is part of the, I want to say that is part of the Vile Tongue corruption. You talk to her and she gives you a vial, and then you come down here and fill this up. Which I had already done previous. I think that was Vile Tongue corruption. But anyway. But as you can see, I think I'm 52 at this point, and a lot of these quests are green already, so we're not really going to have a whole lot of trouble. We do have one character that's a little bit lower. So it's like I said, I'm doing this post commentary. It's been probably like 2 weeks since we actually did this run. Honestly, I don't think I actually get any upgrades while we're down here, or I might get one. But sometimes the hard part is just getting to the dungeon. Because it's kind of a mid 40s to late 40s to low 50s, and this is one of the spirits for the what is it, the pariah's instructions. So these cons are scattered. There's 3 outside the dungeon, and then there's 2 inside the dungeon. So you have to click on a little amulet that you get from the pariah that's out in Desolus, and then you have to come in and get these. It's not too difficult though. Those guys are not very tough.
That would be stealing.
But it usually takes a pretty good while to actually complete this dungeon. Just because it is so long. So as you can see, even just using my rock biter, I was pulling threat from the other enhancement shaman pretty easily. And here is basically the low level entrance. I think, see, there's technically 3 entrances. Yeah, I think this is actually the low level entrance. So there's a con that as soon as you spawn in, he starts walking away from the entrance. See, they marked him there with the blue square. So he'll just kind of wander away, or he paths. So you have to kill these guys fairly quickly, but he doesn't get too far away. The tricky part here is somebody's going to try and aggro him, and we're going to wind up with like multiple mobs. As you can see, I can maintain threat really easily. As long as I have mana, that is. But once I'm out of mana, that's pretty much the end of me being able to tank. So that's one of the little Vile Tongue Corruption. The Vile Stem Vines healed, but we'll get around to that. And those Shadow Shard fragments, those are actually outside the instance. I could have done that a long time ago. I just forgot. So these dryads, these dryads, they're actually druids. So having me as a tank and another shaman will actually help us quite a bit. I mean, not that we really need it, but because you can purge off their regeneration. So we have one Shadow Priest and a regular priest that's healing, another enhancement shaman, and a warrior that's not a he's just DPS. But that actually gives us quite a bit of damage potential. So a lot of the stuff we just absolutely obliterated. These guys, these slimes, or these oozes, I'm sorry, they have a really potent damage, melee damage, damage shield. So you really don't want to melee these guys. But we don't really have any AoE, so we kind of end up having to. I mean, we got 2 shamans with chain lightning, but that is very mana intensive. but you can drop a Earthbind and your magma totem, and it works pretty good. As you can see, the warrior just does not understand the concept of ranged damage. Nothing to it. So we're gonna activate these Vial the field Cerulean Vial, and we will release these corrupted elementals out of it. You saw him just do it right there. Or no, wait, maybe he did. Yeah, there we go. So basically what I'm having to do is switch targets, get 2 or 3 hits in with my Earth or Rock Biter, get some threat built up, and then switch targets, and then use Earth Shock, almost like a taunt, because it works pretty well actually. So we're gonna kite this group again, or another group. Yeah, nothing to it. Believe me, the very first time I came down here back in actual vanilla, the group that I was with, of course this was back really before there was a lot of information out on YouTube, like their videos like this. There was a few, but nothing like an actual walkthrough, or like there wasn't streaming back then. So a lot of this is like, oh, well, let's just go in and attack this, and it took us a while to figure out like why our tank was dying. So those are immune to Earth Shock. But they're not, I don't think these guys are even elites, so it doesn't really matter. And I'm trying to figure out why we're not finding any of these shards. It took me a while to remember that they're outside.
I need a target.
We actually got quite a few pretty decent drops. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, so there's a lot more people playing right now because of of course, the COVID-19 pandemic. If you're watching this from the future, I hope we all made it. Yay! And so everybody's kind of working from home. So um, a lot of players are kind of playing kind of split. And of course it's springtime here, so my allergies are in high gear. So what you want to do is come down and while these grubs are engaged, you want somebody to come down and click on that big worm thing, that tube, because it'll just constantly spit out more. Which I guess it would be a good way if you wanted to come down and infinitely grind on these little things, because they're not elites. So, I mean, I guess you could technically do that. But I know a lot of mages, when they hit like level 50, they'll come down here and AoE grind and get a lot of experience in here. But even if everybody is on that Twisted Evils, those carvings, because they drop off of literally just about everything. And so there's plenty of opportunity to get them.
I don't have a target.
If I can find it. There we go. We're actually nearing the end of basically the orange side, which is the mostly plants and druidic parts. Yeah, after you've done just basically straight DPS, it's hard to get into the tanking mindset. But you notice we're pretty much not using just basically straight up DPS to kill this stuff. We're not really overly concerned with crowd control, which we technically don't have any crowd control, so that's probably a good thing. But I have to say, I am actually a terrible tank. For two reasons. One, I'm really bad. I'm just a bad player. And I don't really have any area of effect way of gathering aggro very well. In hindsight, I probably should have taken the Hammer of Anti-Sul when we went into Zul'Gurub, because that's got an area of effect burst damage thing. And it's a fairly good mace too, so I know a lot of tanks actually use that even toward in-game dungeons because it's so good. And you want to stay away from these spores, these big kind of mushroom-looking things, because they'll spew out. If you get too close, they'll spew out.
Don't have a target.
This like a damage cloud. Yeah, like that. Yeah, see how it's like a burst there. So our very first boss, Noxion. I think there's actually only 2 bosses on this entire wing. You'll notice I dropped Searing Totem there, and the reason that you want to do that as a tank is sometimes these bosses will drop their threat down, like when he splits. However, if you've got a Searing Totem down, sometimes that Searing Totem will hit before anybody else does because it's on a 2-second timer, and that will actually pull the mob or the boss to the totem and give you just a few seconds of time to kind of reestablish it. But yeah, Poison Cleansing Totem, it rocks. And that's why it's so handy to have even multiple shamans in a group, because you've got poison cleansing, disease cleansing. The only thing we can't clear off is curses and some magical effects. Yeah, that guy drops a really good nature resistance wand. Yeah, that protector cape is actually pretty nice. So these tube worms down here, they respawn really, really fast. So whenever, as you cleared them, you want to basically aggressively move out of those spore areas. But if you've got anybody that needs some more of those crystal carvings, this is the place to come and farm for them. So the reason that we're having such a hard time controlling aggro is the warrior is getting whirlwind procs or wind fury procs along with his, I think it's a cleave ability. So he'll cleave and then his whirlwind or wind fury procs on all of that. So he's doing just absolute insane amounts of damage. So really, I don't know why he didn't want to tank. Because I'm basically, he's tanking as much or if not more than I am. I think a lot of people are very nervous about taking the role of tank because they feel like they have to be the leader. And some tanks or some warriors feel like they have to have a one-handed weapon and a shield, especially as they're, you know, getting closer to in-game raiding or dungeoning. But that's really not true at all. Just a good two-hander and at-level greens with armor, strength, and stamina, which is usually on all of the quest rewards for plate, other than a few paladin ones. Will, you know, just basically stack sunders, charge, thunderclap, and you're good. In some of the later dungeons, like the actual true level 60 dungeons, it can be a little bit more difficult, but honestly not a whole lot. I know our original tank in vanilla, I know I'm talking a lot about vanilla, but he didn't start using the shield until, I want to say that we were actually doing Ubers, and he only used the shield on the actual boss. So, alright, so I'm going to go on and stop the recording, and hope you guys tune in for the next episode. Thanks for watching.